You know someone making around $45,000 a year at a regular job. Nothing fancy, just a normal paycheck, same as most people. But on the side, he started a small business. And now that side business brings in more money than his actual job does. He didn't quit his job to do it. He didn't have a business degree. He didn't do anything that looks impressive if you saw it written on paper. He just picked something boring. Something that pays him again and again every single month. And something most people don't want to do, which turns out to be exactly why it worked. I went and looked at real businesses that can actually bring in $10,000 a month. Not maybe if everything goes perfectly. Real numbers that real people are charging and actually getting paid right now, today. I picked 5 of them. If you only remember one thing from this whole video, remember the last one. It's the fastest way to get there, and it's the one that surprises people the most once they hear how the math actually works. Let's get into it. Number 5. Cleaning contracts for businesses, not houses. Cleaning houses is a fine way to make some money, but it's slow. You clean one house, you get paid once, and then you have to go find the next house all over again. Cleaning offices and buildings is a completely different game. One single contract with an office building, a doctor's office, or a school can pay you between $3,000 and $10,000 every single month. And once you sign that contract, it just keeps paying you, month after month, without you having to go sell it again to anybody. So if you land just 3 of these contracts, you're already past $10,000 a month. And you haven't even hired a single employee yet. Here's the secret nobody tells you about this business. The person hiring you doesn't actually want the cheapest price. What they really want is someone who will show up. That's it. That's basically the whole pitch. A facilities manager has been burned before by cleaners who show up late, or don't show up at all, or do a sloppy job the one week there's an important visitor coming through. Almost nobody realizes that just showing up on time, every single time, without fail, is the entire thing that wins you the contract. You don't need to be the best cleaner in town. You just need to be the most dependable one. Number 4, a bunch of vending machines. One vending machine by itself makes you maybe $200 to $500 a month. That's a nice little bonus, but it's nowhere close to $10,000. The trick with this business isn't finding one perfect machine in one perfect spot. The trick is repeating the exact same simple conversation over and over again, in different places. If you place 20 or 30 machines across offices, gyms, and small factories, and each one is making a few $100s a month, all of that adds up past $10,000 pretty quickly. And here's the best part. You never need a storefront. You never need employees. Most of the people using your machines will never even meet you or know your name. The real work in this business isn't stocking soda and chips into a machine. The real work is walking up to a business owner and convincing them, in about 5 minutes of conversation, that the empty corner of their break room is worth more money with your machine sitting in it than it's worth just sitting there empty. Once you've had that conversation and they say yes, the machine basically works on its own from that point forward. Do that same conversation 30 separate times in 30 separate locations, and the money just keeps showing up every single month without you having to think about it much. Number 3. A specialized skill inside a regular trade, like installing EV chargers and smart home wiring. Being an electrician already pays pretty decent money on its own. But there's a newer, more specific version of that job that most electricians in most towns haven't jumped into yet. An electrician who focuses specifically on installing EV car chargers and smart home systems can charge more than $250 an hour for their time. That's way more than what a regular electrician doing regular repairs typically charges. More and more people are putting EV chargers into their garages every single year, and demand for this keeps growing. But most electricians in most cities still haven't figured out that this is a specialty worth advertising on its own. If you do even a handful of these specialized jobs every single week at that rate, you blow past $10,000 a month pretty easily, without needing a huge number of clients. And because barely anyone else in your area is positioning themselves this way yet, you're not stuck fighting with 10 other electricians for the same job and the same price. The trade itself hasn't changed at all. Electrical work is electrical work. What actually changed is which direction you decide to point that same skill set. Number 2, doing the bookkeeping for small businesses. This one is interesting because you barely need anything at all to get started. No shop, no van, no supplies to buy, no tools sitting in a garage. Small business owners routinely pay $500 to $1,500 a month just to have someone keep their books organized and up to date, mostly because almost every single one of them absolutely hates doing it themselves. It's the task they push off to the end of the month, then the end of the quarter, then panic about right before tax season. If you get 10 clients paying you $1,000 a month each, that's already $10,000 a month, and all you really need to make that happen is a laptop and a solid understanding of basic accounting. You don't even need to be a licensed, certified accountant to do this well. Most small businesses aren't looking for a full legal audit. They just need someone to keep their receipts, their expenses, and their income organized in one place so they're not scrambling every few months. What you're actually selling them isn't spreadsheets or software. You're selling them peace of mind, because that stack of paperwork they've been avoiding since January finally gets handled by somebody else, and they don't have to think about it anymore. And number one, the one I told you to remember, buy a small business that's already making money, instead of building one from zero. Here's the thing almost nobody says out loud when they make lists exactly like this one. Every single business I just walked you through takes real time to build up to $10,000 a month if you're starting completely from scratch. You have to find clients one at a time. You have to prove you're reliable, over and over, before people trust you with something recurring. It grows slowly, 1 month at a time, and there's no way around that if you're building from zero. But here's what's actually true in almost every single city across the country, right now. There are people already sitting at $8,000 or $10,000 a month in steady, recurring income from a small service business. Someone with 40 regular pressure washing clients. Someone running a full commercial cleaning route with several buildings under contract. Someone with 20 vending machines already placed around town, quietly collecting money every week. And a lot of these people are actually ready to sell their entire business for way less than what it brings in over just one single year. Why would they do that? Because they're burnt out, or they're moving to a different city, or they're simply done and ready for something new. When you buy a business like that, you're not starting from zero. You're buying something that already works, with real paying customers who are already used to paying every single month, starting from day one of you owning it. Most people never even think to look for this option, because they assume that buying a business automatically means huge amounts of money, lawyers, and mountains of paperwork. At this small scale, though, it usually just means finding the right person who's ready to sell, double-checking that their numbers are actually true and not made up, and then writing one single check. Let me stop here for a second, because I know exactly what some of you are thinking right now. This still sounds like it requires something you might not have. Money, connections, some kind of head start that other people got and you didn't. Here's why that's not really true, though. None of these 5 paths require you to have everything completely figured out before you even begin. Cleaning contracts start with just one single contract, not 10 of them at once. Vending starts with just one machine, not 30. The electrician trade starts with just one certification class and a simple decision to advertise something different than every other electrician nearby is advertising. Bookkeeping starts with just one client who's willing to pay you to fix the mess they've been quietly ignoring for months. And buying a small business starts with just one honest conversation, with one tired owner who's ready to finally let it go. Let me tell you about someone whose situation is a lot like everything on this list. He worked a steady job making about $50,000 a year. He felt financially stuck, like he wasn't really going anywhere no matter how many hours he put in. He kept telling himself he'd start something once he had more savings saved up, more free time on his hands, more certainty that it would actually work out before he risked anything. 2 entire years passed exactly like that, and nothing about his situation really changed. Meanwhile, someone else in a very similar spot, around the same age, making about the same money, just picked one single thing off a list kind of like this one. He chose bookkeeping. He landed 2 clients in his very first month, just from people he already knew personally and had simply never asked before. He didn't spend much money at all getting started, mostly just his own time in the evenings. By month 6, he had 8 clients paying him somewhere between $800 and $1,200 each. Before he even hit his 1-year mark doing this, he crossed $10,000 a month, and the whole time, he never once quit his regular day job to make it happen. So what was actually different between the guy who was still waiting and the guy who was already making $10,000 a month on the side? It wasn't talent. It definitely wasn't luck. The real difference was that one of them kept using the thought "this sounds boring" as a reason to keep waiting for something better to come along. And the other one realized that boring was exactly the reason nobody else around him was doing it yet, which meant there was room for him. And honestly, That's really the whole pattern sitting underneath every single business on this entire list. None of these 5 ideas are exciting to bring up at a party. None of them come with a fancy logo, a slick website, or a pitch that makes people go, wow, that's impressive. What they do have, every single one of them, is a customer who needs their exact same problem solved again every single week or every single month, forever, without ever needing to be convinced all over again from scratch. That's really where the $10,000 a month actually comes from. It doesn't come from one big client landing in your lap. It doesn't come from one genius idea nobody's ever thought of. It doesn't come from one lucky break. It comes from that same small chunk of money landing in your account, on the same schedule, over and over again, long after the awkward, uncomfortable part of getting started has completely worn off. These businesses don't reward the person with the fanciest plan or the most impressive sounding idea. They reward the person who just picks one option, starts it while still keeping their regular job and their regular paycheck, and keeps showing up on the exact same day, every single week, without fail, until the client simply stops thinking of them as optional. That's really the entire path from zero all the way to $10,000 a month. It's been sitting right there the whole time, available to basically anyone willing to pick it up. Almost nobody actually takes it, simply because it doesn't look anything like what people picture in their heads when they imagine what getting rich is supposed to look like.